F1 2020 is a racing game that caters to players of all skill levels, but also rewards those who want to challenge themselves. Today, we're talking about driving aids. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well today. My name is PJ and today we're learning how to drive without assists in F1 2020. I'll be taking you through what I feel is the best order to switch each one off in, so that you can experience an ideal learning curve going forward. If you like these guides and want to get better at racing games, you can subscribe for more videos, but for now, let's get started. In most racing games, assists are designed to help players who struggle with certain aspects of driving their car. This is no different in F1 2020. The first thing to point out is that assists generally make a car safer and not faster, so if you're looking to improve your performance, you'll want to learn how to drive with some, or maybe all, of them disabled. By turning various assists off, you increase the complexity of the driving experience, however, you also increase the amount of control you have over the car itself. This can allow you to do things that weren't previously possible, some of which will be to your advantage. That being said, there's no right or wrong way to choose what assists you want to use, so if you're having fun with some assists turned on, leave them on. F1 2020 features two driving modes known as race styles, Standard and Casual. Standard gives you the full, complex Formula 1 experience, whereas Casual, as the name implies, is slightly easier, with a limited selection of gameplay options. Some assists are also locked on in Casual, but we can still change others. Let's start with the easy ones first. Auto reset to track does exactly what you expect it to, putting you back on the road after you have a crash. It's normally a good idea to stay on the track, and once you learn how, this can be turned off straight away. Next up is Auto DRS. This automatically activates the drag reduction system whenever it's available, saving you from pressing the button. Again, a simple choice to make, but if you're curious on the effects this has on your performance, I have a guide that goes into more detail. Following this, we have the Steering Assist. This gently adjusts your steering inputs in case you veer too far off the ideal racing line. It can be handy in some situations but greatly slow you down in others, and it also locks the Braking Assist to its maximum setting. The Braking Assist automatically applies the brakes as you come up to corners. This guarantees you don't fly off the track, but also slows you down earlier and more aggressively compared to those who control their braking manually. With all of those off, you're left with the racing line. This assist is one of the most widely used, even by expert players, and requires deeper knowledge of both the tracks you drive and some wider racing theory. Fortunately, I go over it all in detail in another guide on my channel, so you check that out after you're done with this one. Now that you've graduated from the casual race style, let's look at some of the options available to you in Standard. There are a few here that don't have a big impact on your driving, but rather the management aspect of a Formula 1 car, and, as with the others, more control can result in better performance on track. Fuel Assist automatically changes the fuel mix when you're driving, switching between rich, standard and lean as you progress through a race. Having more control over this allows you to extract more power from the car when you need to. However, if you do it too often, you'll run out of fuel. Still though, I'd recommend taking control of this if you can manage it. ERS Assist works in a similar way in that it automatically activates and deactivates the overtake button. ERS management has been greatly simplified in F1 2020 and is a powerful weapon in your arsenal. I go over its advantages in greater detail with my ERS guide, you can check that out later. The Pit Assist and Pit Release Assist are interesting ones, as you may actually gain an advantage by leaving these on rather than switching them off. In short, Pit Assist means you don't have to slow down for the pit lane entry. You can fly in there full throttle, and not only will the car slow down automatically, you won't get a penalty either. The Pit Release Assist determines whether you need to hold and release the clutch or not once you're in the pit box. If your reaction times are good, you may gain an advantage with this turned off, but for most it's relatively minor. With all of the assists mentioned so far disabled, you now have a great degree of control over your Formula 1 car. That leaves us with the big three, which we'll look into next. Before that though, if this video is helping you out, leave a like down below and let me know in the comments what assists you have turned off so far, as well as the one you're going to learn next. Manual gear changes can seem like a daunting challenge, however they're not as difficult to learn as you may think, and open up an extra set of techniques you can use on track to improve your performance. Upshifting is rather easy. Wait for your display to light up and then go into a higher gear. You'll also hear the engine increase in pitch as it goes through the rev range. Downshifting is slightly more complicated, but much like upshifting, you will eventually get a feel for what the car should sound like when the revs are low enough. Using manual gears ensures that you're always in the right gear for a particular corner, as the game's automated system may sometimes shift up or down when you don't want it to. Manual gear changing also opens up some more advanced techniques, like short shifting to help manage wheel spin or engine braking to slow down faster. I go over these as well as the basics of gear changes in great detail in my manual gears guide, which you can look at after you're done with this video. The anti-lock braking system, or ABS for short, is designed to help you with your braking performance by limiting the potential to lock up the tyres. This is normally a good thing, and all road cars come with ABS as a safety feature these days. but in a racing environment you may find that you can brake later and turn better with ABS turned off. When driving without ABS, the main thing you have to consider is the amount of grip available to you from the tyres at various speeds, which dictates how much braking pressure you can apply before locking up. In short, you can brake harder at high speed than at low speed, and if you're turning you need to ease off the brakes a little to rotate the car. This is a complicated topic to get a hold of, but fortunately I've done the legwork for you already, so check out my ABS guide which is linked at the end of this video. Traction control, or the lack thereof, is one of the hardest techniques to master, but also the one that gives you the biggest gains in performance. By having precise control over how much the car slides through corners, you can rotate the car better and also exit corners faster, but improper technique or a lapse in concentration can lead to a spin. This is a skill that taps into the other assists you have turned off too, like the fuel and ERS Assist, as well as manual gear changes. To learn in much greater detail how to drive without traction control, check out the video on the right to get started. You can also check out the guide on the left to learn how to drive without ABS. In the meantime, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I wish you the best of luck in your next race.